So when you try to scrape this page, the very first thing you realize is you're not going to be able to just use requests and BeautifulSoup to scrape it, because you have to click these buttons and use these drop downs and hit this search button right here. You cannot do that with BeautifulSoup. You cannot click around and touch stuff on the page. You say, okay, I'm going to use Playwright. It's going to be great. I'm going to load it. I'm going to run it. I'm going to change this drop down under here. I'll move this off the side of the page. So I'll open up this. I will then submit the form. Now, we tried to do clicking the search button before, so now we're going to do another tricky thing where we just like type in here and hit enter, which I thought worked, but it doesn't. When it goes to search, instead, a really quick pop-up shows up on the page and says, I think that you're a bot. And the way that you know that that is true is if you refresh the page, it says, I know that you're a bot. And you have to like answer a bunch of questions about cars or whatever. So what we do to fix this is if you Google around or you're used to using other kinds of tools that are browser automation tools or scraping tools, you might look out for stealth plugins. So one of the tools that I'm so sick of looking for bicycles, I think they're all gone. Great. Yeah, I'm not a bot. So if you are used to other tools, Selenium, Puppeteer, things like that, you might come across Playwright Stealth. Playwright Stealth actually doesn't work on this page either. I installed it and I ran it, and it's the exact same browser automation detection that says, I know that you're a bot. Please stop trying to scrape the website or whatever. So we are actually going to do a third secret way that brings us all the way around to using requests once again. So here's how it works. When you are on this page and you click any of these forms and you hit search, it does a little pop, 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 and then it gives you all of the results over here. So this is an AJAX request. It is a fetch request. It is something where the page is going out to talk to an API, getting data, and then filling in content on this page. So what we are going to do is pretend to be the browser making just that one request, not actually clicking around on the page. So here's how we're going to do it. We are going to open up the developer tools, and we're going to go to network. We are then going to search once again, and you can see, oh, hey, this thing came up called AJAX, or we can even refresh the page, see all of this trash here, go to the drop down, hit search, and then again, see this little AJAX thing down here. It's kind of hard to see when there are like a million different requests here. So what you're going to want to do is filter to fetch XHR, and then do your search, and then see what little guy pops up here as the results. We see this here, we click it. Now, this right here is the API endpoint that the browser is talking to get the information that is then shown on the right-hand side of the page. If we're looking for female judges, and this was a very simple API, it might be fjc.gov/judges/female or something like that. Unfortunately, we're not that lucky. It's a little bit more complicated. Along with saying, here's the URL we want, it's also giving all of this additional form data here to say, here's what was filled out on the page. Granted, this page is not like a simple normal form, and it has a lot of additional stuff that you would not normally see here, but we have to deal with it. We're going to submit it all. It's terrifying. There are also some headers that come along with this that say things like, here's where we came from, here are our cookies, here's the browser that we're using, extra stuff like that. So what we want to do is take all of this information, the request URL, all of the headers that we sent out, our cookies, all the different form stuff, and send all of that to fjc.gov pretending to be the browser, but not actually having the browser open. The way we're going to do that is we are going to right-click, copy as curl, C-U-R-L. Now, curl itself is a, let's see, let me open up a new little section here. Secret API. This is actually the second time I'm recording the video, but the audio was so bad the first time that I'm doing it again. So this is the curl request right here. This is a command line tool that makes requests of, it's downloading web pages, accessing stuff on the internet, things like that. So this right here is not going to work in Python. Like I could in theory put an exclamation mark in front of it, but this is not Python code, this is command line code. And if we do this right click here, it will give us all of these other options, a lot of like things that are in Node or JavaScript that we could run. But because we want to use Python, we're going to go to copy as curl, and then we're going to go to my favorite website on the planet, which is curlconverter.com. So curlconverter.com is a website where you can just paste in a curl command, the command line command, and then down at the bottom, it will give you the Python version of that, or the R version, or the Ruby version, or whatever other thing you want down here. But by default, Python beautifully is selected. So I'm going to click up here. I'm going to paste the results of what we copied out of the network tab. And then it's going to give us all of this code here, all of this code. And I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to click copy to clipboard. Now that I've copied it to my clipboard, I'm just going to paste it right here and I'm going to run it. Now I didn't get an error message. We can look at response.status code to see that we got a 200, or even just look at response to see we got a 200. So things are good, but what did we get back? If we look at response.text, we can see that it is a string, and then it starts with a list, and then moves into dictionaries. So it's a pretty safe bet that we can probably read this in as JSON. So I'm going to pretend that this is just a normal API and say data equals response.json. Now, if we look at data, we will see that normally when we talk to an API, we get back a dictionary, but in this case, we're getting back a list. If I look at the length of the list, there are 3 elements to the list. I can look at data 0. Is this what we want? I don't know, maybe. We can look at data 1. Is this what we want? No. We can look at data 2. And down here, if we start to read this, we can see someone named Nancy here. We can see someone named Anne here. And we can say, oh, maybe this is actually a list of judges. So if we go to inside of this dictionary, we know it's a dictionary because of the curly brace, command, method, selector. Here we have data. So we can look at data to data, and here we go. All of this HTML is the HTML that is showing up on the right-hand side of the page right here. This is one of the worst kinds of APIs that you'll come across. Oftentimes when you have APIs, it'll just come back as normal data and we'll have like a list of dictionaries or whatever. But sometimes it comes back and it is an API, so you would expect a list of dictionaries. But in this case, it is sending you actual HTML. So now that we have actual HTML, we could just treat this like a web page. So I could actually import BeautifulSoup here and say, hey, BeautifulSoup, go read this right here. And then let's say find all of the links that are on there. So we can treat the code that came back, that HTML code that's put over here, as just a normal web page. Now, what we did before was we searched gender female. We probably want to also search for men or search for different races or things like that in here. So how are we going to do that? What are we going to change? So what I would recommend doing is going and unfortunately scrolling through this incredibly long bit of content here about what was sent in your request. And if we pay attention to the top section, one of them says gender 8211, everyone's favorite gender. Why does it say 8211 when we selected female over here? If we inspect the page and we inspect that select right there, this dropdown has 3 different values, both female or male. But when you have a dropdown, there is the display, and then there's the actual value that gets sent when you submit the form. So when you click search here, it does not send a female, it sends 8211. So if we wanted to search for men instead, which is 8206, all we would need to do is change gender right here to be 8206. 8206, shift enter, 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 and shift enter. We will wait, we will wait, we will wait. And there we go. We got a Matthew, we got a Marcus, we got a William. I'm making assumptions, but that seems like a bunch of men. Now, next up, what we need to do is search for race or ethnicity. If we do this drop down and we select a few of these, it's different from what we had before with the gender, because the gender was just a simple select where it could be either this value, or this value. But because race is a checkbox, things get a little bit crazier. So what we're going to do is the same thing we did before. We're going to open up the network tab, make sure fetch/XHR is selected, scroll down and hit search. There's another request for this Ajax page over here, and we see that a number of judges were returned. So if we right click, copy as curl, and then go back to curl converter, we can paste in our new curl command and it will update what has happened down below. Now, most of this is the same, but there is a new section that is called race. And it is not just race in the way that gender is there. It is race, and then it has two little square brackets after it, which means I'm going to give you multiple values. The multiple values that are submitted: 7896, 7901, 7906, and 27741. Where do those numbers come from? If we inspect over here, we can see that this checkbox right here has a value of 7896. This checkbox right here has a value of 7901. So any of the checkboxes that you would like to send whenever you hit submit, all you need to do is add them to this list here. Now, this is actually different from our original request, because our original request, if we scroll up, down, it did not have a race field in it. It had gender, and that was it. And the reason why is because if nothing is selected for any of these drop downs, it doesn't send any information, which is different from a lot of these other fields, right? So some of these other fields, such as education or employment, that did send there is nothing there, but when it comes to race, it sent nothing. But if we would like to select some of these races, we can add them in there. So I'm going to say, I think that's men, and then that is, I believe that was African American. So if I shift enter, shift enter, shift enter 100 times, this right here is our list of African American men. So in playing around with this website, you can find a lot of other little interesting things depending upon what it is you're searching for. For example, if we are trying to figure out education and we want to find different schools and we start to search for something like Yale, we can see, hey, as we were searching for Yale, it started to fill in other requests over here in the network. And you can say, oh, what is this request URL right here? This is one that we don't have to go to curl converter for. We can just say, oh, this is an autocomplete tool. It is an API for the autocomplete of the different schools that they end up supporting. Is that useful? Probably not as useful as everything else. But generally what you're going to want to do is fill some of these things out, the fields you're interested in, hit search, pull the old right click, copy as curl, or maybe spend some time in payload over here. But after you have copied it, take it on over to our good friend curlconverter.com, paste it in, and then just deal with all of this nonsense. If at any point this stops working, maybe once you start automating the browser or something like that, one of the things that might have happened is it might be relying on the cookies that identify you as someone who has already passed the bot test or the CAPTCHA test. And so the way to fix that would be go back on the site, fool around until it asks you whether you're a bot again, fill it out to say, no, I'm not a bot, And once it is agreed that you're not a bot, submit the form, copy as curl, and then just pull out this cookies part right here so that whenever your automation tool goes out and starts hitting the website again, it has the updated cookies. But, there's like a 50-50 chance as to whether it will ever do that. All right, good luck scraping.